I'm on my way to do some more filming, following in yet more of Jack Hargreaves' footsteps from his Out of Town series some 50 odd years ago. I'm not aware that this is a place that he filmed, but on our way out to where I'm going to go today for this particular episode, I couldn't help but think this is just the kind of place where he might well have stopped off and done a few minutes of filming. So hopefully you'll accept this in his tradition. We're here at Fontmell Magna to start the programme. I'm looking at this building. The trouble is it's awkward for parking. Narrow road, far too many cars. That building there is called the Coach House, but from what I've been able to find out, it is actually a new build, but it's linked to the building on the corner, which would seem to be the old Coach House. But it looks more like a mill, doesn't it? And this could be a mill stream. But look how crystal clear that is. I mean, you could almost drink it, it's that clear. I'm trying to get there. You see? Isn't that lovely? It is a mill stream of sorts. It flows down under that bridge there from the old rectory, and we'll find the mill in just a minute. I'm here at Collier's Brook. It's a lovely quiet place. It's probably one of the last remaining what they used to call stew ponds in the Middle Ages. Communities used to keep fish stocks here to help, and all sorts of things live here. And at the moment it's a very quiet scene. I've seen what appears to be a coop, but there are these mallards here right now, and they're performing all sorts of acrobatic tricks, presumably to try and get some of the goodies that they like below. And the stream that comes through here is fed by 10 springs, and they're about 1,000 feet from this point. Let's go and have a look and see the stream itself, because this would have fed the mill, which is further up. The mill was indeed up on the left, up where most of the spring heads emerged, and it ceased to be a mill some time ago. Since about the 20s or 30s it was a private dwelling. It's now called Springhead, and it's owned by the Springhead Trust, who have preserved it, and the Grade 2 listed mill buildings amongst others are used as a wedding venue, which you can hire for the weekend for yourself and up to 37 guests. Prices start from £4,400, including accommodation but not catering. Because of its sort of private nature now, unfortunately I wasn't able to get anywhere near it to do any useful filming, so I do apologise for that. Hope it doesn't spoil your enjoyment too much. Once we get to the end of this little short filming segment, I'll be on my way up the road to where more of Jack's proper footsteps are waiting. But here we stand, and you can hear the sound of the water. Look, there's more waterfowl there, small one. A small coot, I think, and the water is allowed to feed very slowly so that it pretty soon turns into a babbling brook through there. I guess once upon a time there was some kind of control apparatus for sluice gates, but underneath me now you'll see where the water flows through. And down there to make a little waterfall, and this will flow down into the Dorset Stour and out to sea. Isn't that lovely? Sure. Hello again, folks. Now this is something a bit different. 50 years or so ago, Jack Hargreaves stood almost on this very spot, and he was looking back up to the Zigzag Hill. I'm not very good at all this technology stuff, but I will try and put a link in the description. But if you want to go there before you read that, go to Dave Knowles Filmmaker, that's the channel on YouTube, and the episode you're looking for is called Breaking Up the Rural Past and Seeing a Rare Dorset Sight. And I'm sure I wasn't seeing things when I checked on that broadcast not long ago. You could see fields up to the top of the hill, the other side there. And here we are, we're 50, 60 years on, possibly, nearly, probably 50, maybe slightly less. And the woodland has just grown up around it. If you check on his broadcast, and you'll find it on Dave Knowles Filmmaker's channel, Jack came down here because a lady had called him and said that they'd got dippers nesting in their little stream that came down past the farm and past the old mill where they were living. And so he came here to film. And he came down here and stood on this bridge. And it was all open, you could see the stream coming down. Well, there is the stream down there. And if I point that down, you might be able to hear the sound. Somebody's out mowing their lawn. But one of the first things that he pointed out, and I hope people won't mind me having a look, is one survivor, and I hope they won't mind me filming. But I'll lift it above the gate so you can see it. That circle there, and it's got grass going around it now, this was where the wheelwright worked. And they would put the cartwheels on that circle and would then fasten the metal tyre, you could call it. They would put it on the wheel and then cool it down to shrink it onto the wheel. And that is a remarkable survivor. 50 years on, it's still there, but not perhaps in the form that was there when he was there. Now, I'm not so sure that I want to dare walking too far along here. It is a footpath. Let's just turn this off while I go over the stile. This was the mill pond that he was talking about, and what he found was down the other end there. Now, I don't know how far I can actually get along here these days. It's I don't want to go too far because I've left the car in a place where maybe I'm not supposed to. But we'll go along here all the same. I seem to recall this was all open when he was filming here. But This footpath has obviously been made since those days, but we're going along now alongside the mill pond. The dippers were indeed nesting. They were nesting further down the stream because the various mill leats and what have you that had been created channeled the stream and gave it a bit of oomph, and dippers like a bit of oomph. Considering it's been relatively dry, we have to cross these little bits and pieces here, but I think it's dry enough to go this way. Oh, perhaps not. Perhaps not. A bit boggy. But he ended up here. And now all that is private. He ended up, if you watch the film, he ended up over there where the remains of the watermill is, and you can still hear the rushing sound of the leat as it goes down through there. And that was where he stood and filmed. Don't think we can get this is a permissive path, but everything has grown up around here. Although it says private. Aha! Would you believe, I won't go onto it because it's private property, but it looks as though there's some restoration work done on that. Obviously I don't think it's working now, but it looks in a lot better condition than I recall seeing it in his film. And then he walked further down there to where the stream was rushing along, and that's where he found his dippers. But he and his friend were sitting in that barn there looking at some birds closer to hand. I mustn't go too close, but yes, there is what Jack found, and he was looking at it from the top of that wall there. So here we are again, 50 years on from when Jack Hargreaves filmed, and I'm standing here. And totally unrecognisable from the road if you compare the two with Google Street View now. Other Street Views are probably available, and the programme from 50 years ago. But for me to be standing in Jack's footsteps is, as always, quite something, and I feel quite humbled to be here looking at the same thing that he did. But anyway, that's just a very small portion of his travels, which I hope you've enjoyed, and I'm pleased to see that the place is being looked after and maintained. That's always good to see. Not such a fast flowing river now, is it, or stream, as it was as I recall in Jack's film. We are at we're at Mulberry Abbas, at the very top end of Dorset before it goes into Wiltshire and Somerset. How very pleasant. Very pleasant indeed. But Jack is waiting very patiently for me in the car, so I better return to her now. But I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet. Yet more travelling about, looking to see where Jack went and what it's like now. I'm probably not going to do too much more filming in that line. I'll probably end up putting out 3 or 4 programs in that little series, and I don't want to overdo it. I think that would be just a nice tribute from me to Jack, that I've taken the trouble to find where he's been, and as you'll see from the final episode in the series, say goodbye to him in my own way.